Hey guys, welcome back and I hope that you are all doing well. Today I'm going to be sharing you guys my tips on how to score the cheapest flights and accommodation without sacrificing the quality of your trip. Okay, so tip number one, obviously pick the place that you want to travel to. The cheapest places are obviously the ones that are closest to you, and this sometimes can be overlooked. So obviously either pick a place that is geographically closest to you, or you can pick a place that is close to a number of other places, so you can travel to a number of different countries or places without booking heaps of tickets. You just drive over there, or get a train. Okay, so I live in Australia, so sometimes booking a trip to Europe or the US feels the same as when Hercules kissed his mortal parents down on Earth to go and try to find his immortal godly father, and he took a trip on a carpet. No, that's Aladdin. Whatever the case may be, it takes ages to travel and it's so expensive. Don't get me wrong, I love traveling, but if you have a choice to go to New Zealand, which is way closer, or Thailand or Bali or Papua New Guinea, let's go to Papua New Guinea. You don't have the time or the money right now, why not consider it? Literally guys, you know what I found out upon doing research? Geographically, we are actually pretty close to Papua New Guinea. So when I did that research, I found out that there are a number of places that I can go to Papua New Guinea, like, travel-y, pretty beautiful places that I before did not even consider to, and it will be way less expensive. For example, there's a beautiful active volcano, there's a bay, and there's all these different places in Papua New Guinea, and I'm like, hey,
that's cheap and that's close, and these places are beautiful and I love traveling.
Like, why the hell not? So definitely Google geographically the places that are closer to you, and it sounds so dumb, like, duh Rita, I know where I'm geographically situated, but you might not off the top of your head know all of the places, and do some research. So you've set a place to go to Papua New Guinea. Tip number two, figure out the cheapest time of year to travel in that certain country. Now, statistically, October and May are the cheapest countries overall for traveling to places like Europe and stuff, because it is less in demand. So obviously the big Europe trip, everyone goes from June, July, August, and everyone, doesn't go in May when it's a little bit colder, or October when it gets cold again. So you can definitely try to check out those times, and I will guarantee you they will be cheaper. Okay, we're going to Papua New Guinea in October. So tip number three is to book as far in advance as possible. Tickets get more expensive as the weeks and months go by because people are already starting to buy it. They bump up the prices just to get that extra coin. Okay, so tip number four, I like to go on cheapflights.com.au. So this is basically exactly the same as Skyscanner or Kayak, which, if you didn't know, is basically a travel search engine. And what travel search engines do is basically gather absolutely every single flight in the world and group it in, from lowest price to most expensive price. I use Skyscanner sometimes to compare the flights, to compare the pair, but I find that cheap flights is generally easier to use. Which brings me to a really other quick point, is don't just use all of your flights on one website. Compare the pair. Sometimes I would find flights that are not on Skyscanner but would be on cheap flights, or cheap flights would be on Skyscanner. So there's that for you as well. Tip number five, know your cheap airlines. You know the ones. Stuff like Tiger Air or Air Asia, big yikes. They charge very, very low, but they will overcharge you for stuff like food or luggage or different expenses, and it adds up to the same, or if not more, with kind of less service based on my experience. Tip number six, always go incognito mode. Based on the cookies in your browser, flights can go up if you keep on searching for a specific flight to scare you into booking, because the flights keep on going up. I don't know how that's legal, but it happens. So if you go into incognito mode, it always stays the same price. Tip number seven, keep in mind the stopovers and the travel times. So obviously a given, but things can add up if you keep on, prioritizing things like layover and how fast you want to get there. It will keep on rising up in price depending on the airline, so do your research. And again, some things are just not worth it. For example, in specific places, I don't want to stay in freaking China for 8 hours. I have all my luggage and I don't want to haul it around Shanghai looking at all the buildings. I want to go to Shanghai, but not like this. And now you have your tickets. You're going to Papua New Guinea in October. Congrats. Literally the best feeling ever when you have your tickets. Now the accommodation. Can you guys guess my accommodation advice, tips and preferences? It's Airbnb. I feel like Airbnb is the middleman between hotels and hostels. With hotels being a little bit too expensive and hostels being a little bit too groggy, I feel like Airbnbs are my first point of choice. First of all, they're pretty cheap. Secondly of all, you have choice. You can get an expensive Airbnb or you can get a cheap Airbnb or you can get a middle Airbnb that doesn't cost that much. But you know, you still have a little something, you know what I'm saying? I also love it because, you know, if you have hosts, which is great, and you know, they're around or they're active, they're great people to talk to. It's great making friends. You can talk to the locals. Check the comment section of Airbnbs. They're there for a reason. Sometimes you'll go on an Airbnb website, profile, what have you, and the photos are beautiful, the location is great, ideal, whatever, and then you go into the comment section and people that have already lived there are like, this is banal, this is stanky, this is so unhygienic, they're really loud, the hosts were loud, the hosts were unhelpful, or the host didn't even give me the freaking key to, you know, my room. Like, you know, there's different circumstances to every living situation. When factoring in what Airbnb or hostel or whatever it is that you want to, you know, live in for the amount of time that you're going to be staying in Papua New Guinea, I would rather pay a little bit more per night and stay in the city or like surrounding areas, because I don't want to be wasting my time going on public transport. Set out your intentions. The least that you can do, though, the bare minimum, is go onto your notes section on your iPhone or on your laptop, which I like to do, and just write down, you know, every single day. Okay, so going there on the 2nd of October to the 7th of October. So, you know, you put in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th of October. I'm so about lately just being very like not precise, which brings me to my next and final point. Know your budget. This should be set aside above everything else. Figure out what's more important to you. So if you have $2,000 to spend outside of the tickets, be like, do I spend $500 on accommodation, or do I spend 1K on accommodation and then have 1K for food and transport and all that stuff, what have you? Like if you're staying there for 5 days or a week or a week and a half, and then, you know, spread that money out or bulk it all in, you know, like however long you're staying there and however much money, base all of that around and tie it in with your priorities, and you should be set to go. You're gonna love Papua New Guinea. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video provided you with some value, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.